Hello YouTube, and welcome to a D.B.T Gamer special. Now, as I promised, today I'm going to talk about Banjo 3 for the Xbox 360. Now, as we already know, the game hasn't been released yet, but I'm going to give you my thoughts on what it might be like. Now, to start off, I am quite a big fan of the Banjo series. I own all three Banjo platforming games. I own Banjo Kazooie 1 on the N64, Banjo Kazooie 2 on the N64, and I reviewed this earlier on this week, Banjo Kazooie Grunty's Revenge on the Game Boy Advance. And these three Banjo games are all really good, and they have a very special place in my life. And all of them are really good games. Now, what is the new Banjo game going to be like? Well, from what I've seen, let's go to the storylines that they've decided to use for the game. One possible storyline that I've heard a lot about is they're going to use a storyline that involves time travel. Now, they've already used this storyline in Grunty's Revenge, and it worked quite well. So, using time travel for this new Banjo game sounds like it could work pretty well. So the story sounds promising, at least. One of the new things that most fans are worried about is the new addition of vehicles. Now, I have to say, the vehicles, how do I put this? It's a nice idea, but I'm not sure about it. I mean, now, all the Banjo games have been relatively the same for the past few years. Collecting jiggies, doing moves, platforming, kicking the crap out of Gruntilla, that sort of stuff. Now, this new Banjo game has seemed to take a new angle. So it looks a new angle. Now, most of these vehicles also replace most of your moves, but we'll get onto the moves later. As I said, most of these vehicles replace your moves. Like, several of the vehicles have flying capabilities. I think they've used some submarine ones. Some of the vehicles are designed to pick up and carry coconuts, and once you collect coconuts, you'll get a jiggy, of course. So most of the vehicles do have a purpose, and they do help you play the game. Most of the vehicles, as I've seen, are fully customizable. You can build them any way you want, so there's a lot of creativity that Rare's put into that, which looks alright. So, as far as the vehicle thing goes, I'm sort of 50-50. It looks okay. It's not bad, it's not good. Okay, next let's go to the multiplayer. Well, the multiplayer in this game also looks rather good. I mean, some of the new multiplayer modes are also going to be car racing for vehicles that you design and make. I've also heard that that Microsoft is going to do an online sort of thing for this, so you can race people online. Kind of like with Mario Kart. So there will probably be some other multiplayer minigames as well, but I'm not so sure what they may be. One big thing that most Banjo fans are worried about, how the new stuff affect the old stuff. Well, according to some stuff that I found on YouTube and on Google, the game will consist of 20% platforming and 80% vehicles. Oh boy. It sounds like Rare basically ditched the entire platforming idea and just thrown this vehicle thing in. I'm not saying the vehicle thing's a bad idea, but I'd rather it be 50-50, so it's an even amount of each. So the old fans have at least 50% of the game they like, and the newer fans can have their bit that they like. I'd rather it be a bit more even. There is still some old stuff in there. You're still collecting jiggies, you're still collecting notes, you're still collecting Jinjos, most of the collectibles from the previous games are still there. So, at least they're still there. Okay, let's go to the characters. Well, some of the characters have returned from the previous games. Let's talk about Banjo and Kazooie. Well, Banjo and Kazooie, in the N64 games, they always looked really good. And on the Xbox 360, they do, the graphics of the Banjo and Kazooie characters, they look alright. They look kind of nice. They're nicely modelled. And they've done quite a good job, I suppose. Although I do prefer the N64 Banjo's character design, because he looks a little bit more bear-like. The new one seems a bit blocky, and the N64 looks a little bit more bear-like, so... The 361 looks okay, but the N64 one looks a little bit better. Other characters in the game that are going back from the previous games, the new one's Humba Wumba. Now, Humba Wumba has changed a heck of a lot. She kind of looks like a teenager wearing a pair of jeans and a bra, basically. So she's kind of a younger Humba Wumba. Momboy looks kind of like a farmer in this game. He's got his blue dungarees and his shaman staff, so he's a lot... Eevee's a lot younger, or they've just changed how he looks. I'm not sure. Gruntilla. Now, Gruntilla's changed a tiny bit in this game. She's now a robot. The robot looks very similar to the one in Grunty's Revenge. Apart from one important factor, the robot does not have a robotic head anymore. It has Gruntilla's proper human head in a jar. So it's basically a robot with a human head jar on top of it. It looks okay. Now, let's go to the humour of this game. Now, most Banjo games have quite a few good jokes, and the humour is very important, I feel. One of the humorous things I've noticed so far is that Gruntilla's head keeps falling out of her jar when she fights Banjo, which is quite funny. I mean, in the older games, I used to keep falling out. So, Rare has thought of some new jokes, which is quite nice. It's nice that they're keeping the humour. Okay, my final thoughts on this game. It's nice that Rare's taken a new direction with the new Banjo game. It does look okay. Now the big question is, will I be buying this? Well, there's two major problems with this. One, I don't own an Xbox 360, and two, I ain't got a job yet. And three, I'm still really undecided whether this will be a good Banjo game for me. I mean, one of the major killers for this game for me is that they've removed lots of Banjo's moves. Example, Kazooie can't fly anymore. Instead, you have to get in an airplane. You've got a bird on your back, Banjo. Use the bird instead. Now, another thing I want to talk about is that Rare actually made this same game twice with all the Banjo moves in it. So the prototype sounds a lot better than the actual one they've finished making. Anyway, YouTube, thanks for listening to my thoughts on the new Banjo game. My next video will be a review of the Nintendo 64. But I'll stay up for next time, YouTube. Until then, bye-bye.